North St. Louis, Missouri, Washington, D.C., Cleveland, Ohio, Sacramento, California, Nashville, Tennessee, New Orleans, Louisiana, Jackson, Mississippi, Denver, Colorado, Boston, Massachusetts, also Oklahoma, Atlanta, Georgia, and also Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Kansas City, Missouri, home of the FIA. That's FIFA World Cup soccer matches started this summer in Kansas City, Missouri. We're going to launch with the Missouri Conference for May the 2nd, a whole brand new month, 2026. My name is Howard Coach, your host and creator along with Elder Adeline. How you doing, Loretta? Fine. Okay, and then I know you're doing well, Brother Scott.
Too blessed to be distressed.
Well, you've been all over the state this week. You've been everywhere.
Oh, yep. And last week I was out hunting, and this week I was at a realtor convention.
How did the turkey hunting go?
Great memories, no turkey.
Okay. With your granddaughter, that's always good. Also, we'll be joined by Turkey Bow. He's on the mission also, and Mr. Dean Busby. But we're broadcasting live today on Ferguson USA, HotTalkRadio.com from beautiful Winter Terrace. That's in North County, St. Louis City, and in Orland, Missouri. And we live on Ferguson USA, HotTalkRadio.com, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Instagram. And we want to thank you so much for making us support your weekend since 2015. That's every Saturday since 2015. Wow. And we have been heard between 1 and 3 p.m. And that's through the COVID group they can be in. And we broadcast the same exact program every Sunday between 1 and 3 on Wednesday again also. So right now, we just thank you so much. And without further ado, we have prayer with Elder Alan Lyles, pastor of the Waldorf Park Bible Chapel Church located at 55 411 that's in Los Angeles 63120. Prayer today, and our lesson with Elder Alan Lyles, pastor of the Waldorf Park Bible Chapel Church located in North St. Louis at 5547 Dunn Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri 63120. The next one you hear will be that of Elder Alan Lyles, who is the senior pastor of the Waldorf Park Bible Chapel Church. Okay, 5547 Dunn Avenue, St. Louis 63120. Reverend Elder Lyles, how you doing, sir? Fine. Reverend, I have to tell you, I love those business cards. Amen.
Let's bow our heads.
Yes, sir.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for waking us this morning. You didn't have to, but you did. Another day we have never seen before.
Amen.
And we thank you for your wonderful gospel, how that Christ died for our sin, was buried, and rose again. I continue believing to the saving of the soul. Continue to make heaven your home before you sleep and after you sleep. Heavenly Father, give such great thanks for such a great salvation. And Heavenly Father, that we're going to have a wonderful fellowship with you today, and people get saved before it's ever too late. I continue to hear the death, the burial, and the resurrection of Jesus Christ before they go to sleep or before they die. In Jesus' most precious name, amen.
Well, thank you for that beautiful prayer, sir. And today we have got part 2 of Let's You Hear from last week. So without further ado, let's go, sir.
Part 2, we're starting off with the Revelation 20th chapter, the millennial reign.
Oh, okay. That's Revelation 20?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just gonna get my Bible pages. Sticking in your ear. Okay. Okay, Elder Lyle, you can go ahead, sir.
And verse 1 said, and I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit, and a great chain in his hand. He laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil, and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him that he should deceive the nation no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that he must be loose a little season. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither have received his mark upon their forehead or in their hands. And they live and reign with Christ 1,000 years. This is related to the tribulation.
Yes, sir.
But the rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy is he that had part in the first resurrection. On such, the second death had no power, but they should be priests of God and of Christ, and should reign with him 1,000 years. The next part is, which the second part would be, which would be it's short and sweet and to the point. The loosening of Satan. Revelation, the same chapter 20, verse 7 to 10.
Okay.
And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan should be loosed out of his prison and should go out to deceive the nation which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. And they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints about in the beloved city. And fire came down from God out of heaven and devoured them. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophets are, and should be tormented day and night forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
Now this is a little summary. This is the results of what's going to happen to Satan and his demons during the war. There's a war going on. That war started when God created the heaven and the earth. You go back to Genesis, the first chapter, when it said that the word that there was a war going on in heaven. And verse 1 and 2 said the world was without form or void.
Hold on 1 second, Red. Let me get in Genesis now. Okay, I got it.
That's Genesis. Go back to Genesis.
Okay. And this is the creation.
Right. In the beginning, God created the heaven and earth. And the earth was without form and void. And nakedness without form and void, and darkness was up on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved up on the face of the water. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. That's going back to Genesis. That's when when Lucifer said he wanted to be God, and he was cast out of heaven, that's why he the prince and the power of the air. Because he is the heavenly body. He got access to heaven and earth when he get ready, when God permitted. He can't do nothing without God permitting everything. Everybody is controlled by God. I don't care who you is, from the president on down. Everybody.
Oh yeah.
Nobody do nothing unless God permit it. Nobody. That's why he tells us to trust God. Tell us we're bibliologists. Bibliologists know that he belongs to the Lord Jesus Christ. A bibliologist is a person that studied to show himself approved unto God, not ashamed of rightly dividing the word of truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bibliologist.
Yes, sir.
Ain't no more apostles, ain't no more prophets, none of them. All of them is gone. according to Hebrew. Turn to Hebrew.
Okay, Hebrew.
The first chapter of Hebrew.
Hebrew, hold on a second. We're right back to the New Testament. I've been reading Hebrew this week. Hebrew, what chapter there?
The first chapter of Hebrew.
Okay, Hebrew.
In verse 1,
read it when you are.
the first chapter, verse 1 to 3. God, who in sundry times and in divers manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets, had in these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he had appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the world. This is the bibliologist. This is who is talking about God the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
So now Hebrew right now, so that's okay, so this right now, this is during the sundry times and the diverse manners. Okay, so that's what he's speaking of again here, right?
Yep, that's why ain't no more of them, those other people. They gone, and they waiting on to go to heaven, if they're not already there.
Okay.
And then they go on to say, I read the 4th verse too. And it said, who being the brightness of his glory? I'll read the 3rd verse now. And the express image of his person. And upholding all things by the word of his power. When he had by himself purged our sin. He did that on Calvary's cross over 2,026 years ago. Died for your sin, was buried and rose again. He said, it is finished. On the right hand of the majesty on high, being made so much better than the angels, as he had by inheritance obtained a more excellent name than they. May the Lord have a blessing to the reader and hearer of his words.
Okay. Well, we have give you part 1 and 2 to give us a summary of both of these. We started off last week. Okay, you gave us a definition, of this topic. Well, let's go back from there if you don't mind.
Would you want to go back to the first?
Yeah, what you first, you had a title, okay? For the word Genesis, remember, serves right.
The title in Genesis was creation. And in Hebrew it's talking about the Son. The Son is God's revelation. See,
okay.
It doesn't happen unless the Son is in it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I ended with this.
Well, what you did, Rev, you took us from Genesis, to Hebrews a little bit. And then you took it to Revelation. Then you took it back to Genesis there. So now you can kind of put all those together, okay? So we all can understand and follow exactly what the message that you put across to us.
Yep, it's self-explanatory. And you know, radio people, the main thing is that you be born again.
Mm-hmm.
And it said, in the book it says, 1 Corinthians, the 2nd chapter, verse 14, I believe, 9 or 14, it says, the natural man understanding not the spiritual things of God, because they are spiritually discerned.
1 Corinthians 14.
So you got to be born again. And the key word here, to be reading this word of God, you have to believe it. If you don't believe it, you're going to bust hell wide open. And hell is a place where the worm never dies. Believe me, it is a hell. And And it ain't like you think it is in your cardinal mind. Hell is a place where the worm never die, and it's a place of darkness. And when you go to hell, you ain't gonna know nobody in hell but you.
Yeah, because they got all these misnomers, okay, but you gonna meet your friends, your family members, y'all will have a good time, and that's, that's kind of, misbelieving or misspeaking, like, not just misspeaking, but misthinking in your mind that you're gonna have a party when you get to heaven. That's like, I'm gonna have a good time, I'm gonna meet all my brothers, my friends, and that's how you cannot be put up on the truth.
See, the word of God said, there ain't gonna be no more memory of this life. This life is perished. Once the person go in the grave, the people that keep them in memory is the people here that right here on earth remembering their loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
But it ain't no remembrance of them according to the scripture, to Ecclesiastes.
Now, what chapter in Ecclesiastes will give us something insight into that?
I think it's the third. I'm gonna try the third chapter, Ecclesiastes.
Oh, well, that's one of my favorites. The first 3 verses there really breaks it down. There's a time for everything. Yeah, the first and the third chapter, if you look, I'll read it for you. Well, here it says, to everything there's a season and a time to every purpose under the heavens. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up, and that which is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, a time to dance. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get and a time to loose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to rend and a time to do so. A time to keep silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace. What profit has he that worketh in that wherein he laboreth? I have seen the travail which God has given to the sons of men to exercise it. He that has everything beautiful in this time, also he has set this world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that God makes from the beginning to the end. And I know there is no good in them, but of a man to rejoice and to do good in his life. That's what you're talking about, Real?
Well, that's true. Hey, go back to I'm gonna go to the 9th chapter of Ecclesiastes.
9th. Oh, boy, that's beautiful there.
And I want to read this to the people so they can get something from this.
Yes, sir.
9th chapter and verse 15.
15.
When you talk about the natural man said the things of God is foolishness to him.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to know him. He could care less and everything. That's why you have to be born again to relate to the things of God.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to this. This is talking about the wise man and the fool.
Okay.
The 9th chapter of Ecclesiastes and verse 15 says this. Now there was found in it a poor wise man, and he by his wisdom delivered the city. Yet no man remember that same poor man. Then said I, wisdom is better than strength. Nevertheless, the poor man's wisdom is despised, and his words are not heard. The words of the wise men are heard and quiet more than the cry of him that ruleth among fools. wisdom is better than weapons of war. We're in the war, y'all, but one sinner destroyed much good. And that's why the sinner gonna bust hell wide open because of his unbelief. And that's what a fool is. He's in unbelief. Don't be the fool. Get born again. Believe the gospel. The death, the burial, and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And you can go to heaven on that. I'm gonna guarantee you go to heaven on that than me continue to talk. I don't know if I'm continuing to talk because I could drop dead right now or to sleep. But I know what I just told you. You believe the death, burial, resurrection of Jesus Christ. Heaven is your home. Right where you stand, sit, lay, sleep, wherever you are in this universe. Stop playing, get saved. Jesus on his way back.
Well, I tell you what, one of the things, and that one thing that these words go back, that we're reading, over 2,000 years, and that's the one thing we all can depend on. That we can depend on. That when he tells us, okay, will take place, and has taken place, and we're living it as we speak.
And get saved, people. Time to get saved, stop playing. Jesus on his way back.
Yeah,
and if you ain't born again, you going to hell.
Well, Rev, a lot of people right now are making plans, and they're going the wrong direction. They just think right now we're realizing our world is in such chaos. The word that we started using about a year ago on our program, and right now it's like an everyday word. People say chaos and everything is crazy. But he is the way and the life.
Amen.
And this is what
we are for radio audience, and for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. I have spoken according to the word of God. Amen. And I love you.
Well, Elder Lyle, I know we're going to thank you so much for today's lesson. It's been beautiful. And you listen to Ferguson, USAHotTalkRadio.com. That's Elder Lyle, bibliologist. You listen to Ferguson, USAHotTalkRadio.com. Love you much about you, my conversation. On that note, my name is Aaron Folks, and that's the other one. Scott, take us out of here. to Missouri Chamber of Commerce on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. In fact, so far, we are going into the month of May. He said, you hear the old folks say, you come in like a lion, you come in like a lamb. Well, as we approach May the 2nd, we're happy to say, as we approach the summer years, the spring is here now. But I will say one thing for you, okay? The CDC wants you to know a measles outbreak has been issued. Now, that's not a good thing. The CDC has put in the health department on alert that more measles cases are forthcoming, and then there's more travelers and large groups, which when you travel in these large groups or you're going places, and that you have your picnics, you got your graduations and stuff, you got your basketball games, you got all this stuff is going on. Well, right now in your football season, your baseball season, well, this brings a lot of people together in the same spot. And one thing that this does is it creates measles. And right now, unfortunately, a lot of people have said, they had stopped taking the measles shots. And so right now, we are telling you, when you can go to your health departments. If you don't have insurance or you do have insurance, you can stay with your health department, you get your records checked out, or go to your primary care physician, to make sure that you're getting your shots and getting your vaccination. And that way, you're sure, okay, that you are not one that may be catching the measles. I recall when I was a young kid, back in, years and years ago, there's not a good feeling to have. So right now, we ask you, please, if you're not looking out for your own self, look out for somebody else, because, the kids coming home from school, you got your graduations all starting to take place. So please, people. And also, as we deal with the measles, we also been faced with the flu season, which is, we've been saying this for a couple of months now, the 2020 flu season is very severe due to a rapid surge. The word surge in a mutated is an H3N2 variant known as subclass K. We've been talking about this for a number of months now. This virus, this subclass K, which helps the virus evade pre-existing immunity, and that's what we got in the problem. Whatever's going on right now, there's some same stuff out here. And what you need to do, okay, this is causing high infection rates and hospitalization rates all compounded. And the only way that you can deal with this right now is get your vaccination. And right now, and the fact that we have, with these lower vaccination rates and stuff, that's why we have all this thing coming back on us. So right now, as we continue to say, the thing what can you do? You can please wash your hands. That's something we all learn basic. Wash your hands, make sure your hands are clean. You come into the house, wash your hands first. So that's what you should start doing. When you come in, you're going to touch so many different things. When the kids come home from school, make sure they wash their hands. And by doing that, okay, you kind of alleviate the first step in the journey getting into your house. Okay, now when you're out and about, a person starts coughing, kind of step away a little bit, do a little social distance for you between that person. And when you can, right now, please wear your face mask. Matter of fact, I was to the doctor's office the other day, and I tell people this: when you go in these offices, they're wearing face masks for a reason. And so that means that you probably should wear a face mask, bronchitis. There's so many things going on right now that you need to protect yourself. And I said, this is something that's not good right now. And also health department right now, we're still getting all the people in place. We just got a new director of the CDC last week. Well, now we're getting a new Surgeon General. This is a new person that we get. His name is Casey Means. President Trump withdrew his previous state. So we now have a new person that's been put in that position. And so we just say thank you so much. And a little little history and also future history for us. We are so proud of what took place a couple of months, a while back. It's been a long time. When we had our NASA astronauts, they went up, around the moon and back and stuff. Okay, we brought new attention to what was going on. Well, we are actually proud that Mr. Glover, the pilot, the commander of the flight, and did all this travel, the longest flights in our history, was Mr. Glover, was a black man, okay, that commanded that flight. And you're going to see more of these guys on television telling their stories, okay. And this is so exciting. This is where we were going. In space, we had got away from it for a while, but we were young. We always talking about the space. We were going to space, but we got away from it. But guess what? We're coming back to it now. And we're happy to say that it's not stopping here. There's a flight being planned right now for September. And this is another good thing here. This would be the first black female will be the commander of that flight. That lady by name, I'm going to say Captain Major or whatever, Jessica Watkins. She's scheduled to lift off in September to the International Space Station. Miss Watkins previously space flight experience included her being on the space station for 170 days. So again, we're looking forward to the future. And right now, a lot is going on. And right now, a little bit as we celebrate our 250th anniversary. We were blessed and honored, I should say, to have King Charles and Queen Camilla visit us this past week. In fact, there was a lot of grand things going on. I say grand things. We had the state dinners and stuff. He was making speeches and stuff, and so we kind of ended everything up this past on the 30th, the end of last month, where he visited the tomb of the unknown soldier. Now that's something that is all at the cemetery, and there you find that the unknown soldier is a tomb there that kind of symbolizes that honors, I should say, the United Kingdom, England and the United States relationships, partnership down through the years. So that was probably one of his last things he did on this schedule. And unfortunately for us, there's something my pastor said at church all the time. You got your voice here. Take this one. Excuse me 1 second. Okay, that sounds better. Okay, one of the things that took place when went to the unknown soldier's tomb, the United Kingdom's flag was turned upside down, and that's kind of a bad thing to look at. And also as we have that discussion, we think the king and queen for there, that was King Charles' first official visit, and the last king and queen to visit our country in that capacity. The Speaker of the House of Representatives and the Speaker of the Total House was his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. Now, right now, this past weekend, going on now, I should say, there are a lot of protests. This time it's not called a No King's March, but it's called like a May Day, like Earth Day, a lot of things. But people are kind of upset about what's going on around our country, what is not taking place. People, everything is going up in the wrong direction. And also, some good news. I had to look at it. A lot of people know the people, TSAs, the people that have Homeland Security, that after 75 days, a bill was passed that would kind of end the shutdown. Even that's 175 days. What that means is that the TSA workers cannot get paid, flight attendants, and a whole lot of things can go back to normal now. And there's a whole lot of stuff that's had to go back to normal. And right now we're looking forward to see those people having their jobs back. The one they kind of had to, because these people that were going through places, times where they didn't have food, gas to work. It was like a bad time to be a TSA worker, but that's all behind us in our review here. Thank God that we survived that. This country will survive. And also, we have to be talk about this because this has been a crazy week starting last Saturday night where they had the something that people have been looking forward to, for quite a while, which was the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Was held in Washington D.C. at the Hilton there. Beautiful hotel, beautiful hotel. And say he was, and this was the first one that President Trump had ever attended. Now he had attended these White House Correspondents' Dinners in the past in different capacities when he was, when he was a Democrat, New York, businessman. But this was the first one that he had attended his own self. Not only was he in attendance, okay, but also was most of his cabinet members, and also was the vice president. Now, it's unusual for the president and the vice president to be at the same page at the same time. Not only the vice president and the president, but also the Speaker of the House. And the reason I say that, whenever we have the State of the Union, all the cabinet members are there, and one cabinet member stays away from that. So in this dinner that we had last Saturday, you had all the leaders of our country. If something had to happen in the wrong way, the president was eliminated, the vice president, and also the Speaker of the House. So they all were there in the same spot, and that was a rare occasion that they all were there in the same spot. So anyway, I say that because there was an assassination attempt that you all heard about. If you hadn't heard about it, that was made not just on President Trump's life, but also an attempt, to assassinate either the president or his cabinet members or the vice president. Because I say, they had so many people in the line of leadership that were in that same room. And this was an attempt by a gentleman by the name of Mr. Coles, who had led, Cole Allen is his name. He's from California, very brilliant professor, so he something that was really stupid, if you see all the tapes, the videos that they show of him trying to run, I don't know if they just run past all the security and get in. Well, personally, I know the fastest man in the world. Years ago, the gentleman named Ivy Crockett ran a 100-yard dash, and I can assure you, Mr. Cole is not Mr. Crockett. That he could not hardly thought he could run past those guards, past all the security they had there, and then go down the steps. So this was a stupid thing for a smart man that he could get done. But to thank God that the person that got a shotgun, and you can see he kind of planned all this out, but he was stupid. What he was trying to do was stupid. You're going to get caught, and he got caught. Now, also to show you that now they did all the research on him, kind of research his steps. And so now he's agreed. But that's why this is something fishy about all this, in my opinion. He is agreed, okay? Now, this gives me, he agreed to stay in custody while his case moves forward. Now, that's something. But anyway, so again, this is the third attempt made on President Trump's life, assassination attempt, I should say. The one was, where he was, shot in the ear. The other was down on this, in Florida, where there, and this is the third one. So again, we all, the Bible tells us to pray for our leaders. So we ask you right now, please pray for his family and security, that no one's harm comes to them. And also, this past week, this has been a busy week, a lot's going on. The Supreme Court dropped up, this is something that's been, I shouldn't say you shouldn't be surprised, but for the last, since 1965, Chief Justice John Roberts had made his life mission to roll back the 1965 voting act that was signed by President Lyndon Johnson. This gave black the legal right to vote. It gave us some parity, in our politics and stuff. And for people not aware, this past week, the state of Louisiana, what they were trying to do was expand their, expand the black voting powers in the state. They had one congressman, they got to get two. Well, this went up to the Supreme Court, Well, the Supreme Court took this opportunity, okay, to use the language there. You hear said the gut, take out, the Voting Act as we know it. And so now you're hearing that this is gonna be bad, which it is okay, because black representation, black participation, not just black people, minority participation, I should say. And I say minority. Minority is not just include blacks, it includes Hispanics, it includes Chinese. We got a whole lot of people that fall upon the word minority. And there was a time that you said minority, you're talking just being black. Okay, well, right now, okay, the vote this past week by the United States Supreme Court was 6-3 along Republican lines, because you said it should be no fair and not Democratic Republican. But right now we know the conservatives have been working on this. That's why I said John Roberts, when he was working with President Reagan back then, that was one of the first things his job was trying to reverse. So again, after all those years, okay, he's kind of succeeded. And as we were talking about this, even today, well, the state of Louisiana already decided they want to pause their their primaries, so they can redo the maps, the redistricting. All this is taking place because President Trump wanted to make sure that in the House, that in the Congress, actually in Europe, that they would have that the Republicans would have a majority in the House of Representatives. And it's kind of hard, to do because in the Senate there is no boundary. Every state has 2 senators. Every state has 2 senators. So I mean, so that's straight up. There's no advantage about that. When they come to the House of Representatives, okay, called equal representation, people who represent us, and who
Ladies and gentlemen, looks like we've lost Brother Ira, so we're going to go for a little bit of break right now, and we'll be right back. Thank you.
back with Lantos and Zubachi Comerce. Technology has its glitches, but I was saying to you that right now the Supreme Court is throwing the country in chaos right now, and all this is trying to make sure that Republicans remain in power. Now, I would say this is my personal opinion here. One of the things that the country sit back and watch all this taking place, you know, that the Republicans want to stay in power and make sure that Donald Trump do not get impeached. See, the whole goal here, come November, is that when the House of Representatives, that the Republicans remain in control, and also remain controlled in the Senate. So now this is what all this redistricting is all about, trying to put things in such a way that they can retain themselves where they are. But right now, my personal opinion, I think this is going to kind of have a little small backfire here, because one of the things that, like I said, they just stopped the primary, you know, in Louisiana, which probably made the 16th. But now they're putting in a hold, and also I think Alabama and I think Tennessee, some other states are now trying to do a likewise to redraw their maps. So now I think this may backfire because when people hear the word Republicans right now, they're hearing and looking at around them that everything is kind of in chaos, things are going in the wrong direction. And so that's they're going to associate, that with their lives, and that the fact, the gas prices are going up, food prices are going up, interest rates, are remaining the same. And when I'm talking about interest rates, there, as a matter of fact, President Donald Trump is at according to Reuters right now, he has one of the lowest ratings of his presidency, and and down to 34%. And as gas prices continue to surge more than 40% since February 28th, and that's when it started out about 60 days ago. Matter of fact, we got to talk about that. And just 34% of Americans approve of the Iranian wars. You're not saying wars because they stop and start. And matter of fact, one thing we do know for a fact, the cost of food is increasing, and the interest rate remains the same. And on the internet, Chairman Powell just had his last month here as president of the chairman of the Reserve Bank. And so right now, as in Congress, they're picking his successor. But Chairman Powell will remain on the Federal Reserve Board for another 2 years.
You're breaking up, Ira.
Okay, so he still will be able to influence the being done on the Federal Reserve for an interest rate goal. Now, the person that's going to replace President Trump has been told a suggestion, how you want to put it, that he needs to increase lower interest rates, and that's one of the things that's going to be taking place. And also a thing that's going to be taking place that's going to involve both of us. Okay, yes, this war in Iran, the blockade that we're having with the straits, it's kind of hard to keep track of who's in charge or who's not in charge. But the one thing I do know, can you hear me, Scott?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, good. Okay, one thing I do know, okay, as long as there's a blockade going on, okay, food prices, gas prices, oil prices are going to go up. And right now, this is the highest they've been in a very long time, and I don't see them coming down no time real soon. Another thing in politics right now is still going on down in the state of Georgia. Former President Joe Biden has endorsed former mayor of Atlanta, Georgia, Katisha Lance Bottom, in her race for governor. So again, politics still going on, and also something this is going to affect a lot of the people here, including the United States. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres said Thursday that billions of dollars, and I said billions of dollars, the United States owes the world by is non-negotiable. You're talking about all the tariffs that was collected, all that money. Well, right now, there was a report that Washington want to pay some conditions on how they can reach those funds. Well, it's been said right there. There is no negotiation. It's straight up. The United States need to pay the money that's owed to the countries and also the people here in our own country that's been affected. And also, Elon Musk and has been in court, doing a lot of things. And you probably read about AI. AI is here to stay. In what form would it be? But we are part of AI control. They just look around, jobs are being lost. Matter of fact, I saw a robot the other day they got now that can unload airplanes. They just cut a couple thousand jobs in the tech companies and stuff. So now, as we adjust to our new form of life, we're not sure how things are going to be. And another thing that's taking place, I'm kind of rushing to get this in. Another thing that's taking place that as we had this conversation, that the United States, the Congress has to make a decision on our war. I think we come up on that 60-day mark to see how that's going to work. And also, Elon Musk also got another setback. He's been fighting about on the control of AI, but one of the things that he was trying to do was with controlling the satellites. That he had meets the satellites, not thousands of satellites up in the space there, and he was trying to create some technology that bring the cell phone towers directly to your cell phones, and that way you need the towers, anything in between. And we're in where the FCC, Federal Communication Commission, when I say FCC, said no, can't do that. And right now here in St. Louis and around the country, not country but around the world, you seeing more carjackings, you seeing more murders. That all ages continue to increase, so we ask to please pray for everyone that we can see those things go away. And on that note, my name is Ira, folks. A lot more we're going to talk about, but right now, Mr. Ferguson, USA, HotTalkRadio.com, lunch with the Chamber of Commerce on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. That's Scott Owens. That's Elder Allen Lyles. I'll be right back with our special guest, Mr. Bill Kovacs. Scott, keep it out here. Welcome back to Lunch with the Missouri Chamber of Commerce on a very beautiful Saturday afternoon here in the city of St. Louis. The sun is out, a little chilly, but that's all it is, called May. And also taking a break from all the tornadoes that's been hitting our country, hitting the Midwest, and we've been kind of fortunate that we had a lot of tornadoes around us this past week, and we all came out fantastically safe. We want to thank God for that. And also today, this is a gentleman, my mentor, by the way, and my big brother. I'm happy to have back on the program, Mr. Wemel Kovacs. We call him Bill Kovacs. Bill, how you doing today, sir?
Doing great, Ira.
Well,
we're glad you're having some good weather, because when I see the television, it looks like St. Louis has bad weather every day.
Well, Bill, see, St. Louis is what was right on the cuff. Okay, you know what I mean? See, first of all, you got to understand the dynamics. St. Louis is in between two rivers, the Missouri River and the Mississippi River. Then we have like the confluence of the river where the Ohio River comes in, also north of us. And so, you know how, so these storms that need water for them, to be powerful, you know what I'm saying? And so that's why you'll see most of these storms, okay, in some places, St. Louis is on the edge, coming in, the edge of going out. Sometime this week, we was in the middle of this week, which is not a good thing. But how's the weather in D.C. where you are?
Well, today it's beautiful. So yesterday was pretty nice too. So,
okay.
So what are we going to talk about today?
Well, first of all,
by the way, is Rev back yet?
Well, he was with us, okay, today, and he just did a beautiful lesson for us today, but he had to run, and I know he wanted to be around for you today, but he had to run, so right now, but you'll be able to hear his lesson today.
Well, I just wanted to welcome back. He's a great person, and when he speaks, you think God's speaking to you with that voice, so you sort of hide.
Well, Bill, today he was speaking. Matter of fact, the lesson today was just unbelievable. And the thing I love about it is like something like you in your books, right? That you write, okay, you putting clarity to confusion, for lack of a better description. You know, and too many times people that the Bible try to confuse the Bible, but you got to speak fact to facts, you know, and that normally get people in trouble because people say, "What you talking about? It's the facts to life." And,
I thought Pete Hegseth was the new Moses. I don't know why.
Well, no, I kind of said it. You opened up here. That goes along with President Trump being the new Jesus. I had to say that.
That's. I'll tell you, when you put yourself in that position, you have to be ready to be mocked.
Bill, I didn't want. I was trying to avoid saying that on the program, but when you said that, well, Bill, right now, before we get into the program, this man right now, first thing he did when he got in there, he wanted to change the title of his position. Something that's been around since the beginning about this experiment called Freedom in the United States or from England. Okay, here's a man that was a commentator, I should say, on Fox News and stuff. Coming into this position, one of the most powerful positions in the world, and got us into two wars. Well, first it was down in Venezuela, and now into the one with Iran. And trying to use cartoons and stuff to describe this, I just can't. I mean, he takes me to new limits every time he talks, Bill. That this man right now is controlling all these ships. Just my personal opinion. Right now, if we want to cut our budget, the budget for the Defense Department, we got all those ships, battleships sitting over there over there. And those things cost millions and millions of dollars a day.
I thought they said the whole thing was costing us over $1 billion a day.
Yeah. I mean, it's costing us millions a day, but I'm saying all those ships sitting there and all the troops you got sitting there, and and you're not using those people, okay? And you got them away from their family. This is all costing us. I mean, so this whole thing has been ill planned in my opinion. What's your opinion on it? Because you talked about the illustrious Secretary of Defense.
Well, first of all, I think it's a disgrace to even name the Department of Defense the Department of War. That means that we want war. We don't want defense. We are now an attacking, aggressive nation. And to me, the leadership role of the United States, literally since we were almost born, but especially since World War II, has always been the fact that we tried to preserve freedom and the democracy and defend the little states. We never were one of these papers and we're just going to take it all. I mean, even the Monroe Doctrine, they've twisted this. That was all about protecting South America. That wasn't about taking it over. And I just feel like we've gotten so far into this war idea, and some of the things that he says, well, they're here to kill and we're here to kill more and more and more. That's really sick. I mean, just from a social point of view.
But one thing you just mentioned, the Monroe Doctrine there, okay? Well, it's quite apparent President Trump and Secretary of Defense, his set.
The war machine.
Yeah, okay. Well, they have not read any of those doctrines, okay, that you just mentioned. Because each one of those doctrines, okay, tells you about how the United States took steps, okay, you said to protect another man, and they were protecting their own selves, and those little people, okay, became our alliances, our friends, I should say. And that's how the United States got friendship and good favor around the world, and to protect other little man. And right now, it seems to be that the last thing we want to do now is help somebody else. We want to destroy everybody.
We don't want to help anyone else. We want to take whatever they have, and we want to take more. And if you want to meet with the president, you have to give him an expensive $1 billion president. We're beyond. We're just beyond where we are. I mean, it's one of the reasons, and I know I'm on today. Later on, we'll talk about it in the book. But the whole purpose of the book was to say, do we really want a country where the Congress abdicates and doesn't check the president and we become an autocracy? Or do we want a strong president who just literally smashes the world. And one of the only thing Congress has to do is check the president. That's its main role. It's got a lot of other roles, declaring war, interstate commerce. It's got a lot of roles. But the big reason the checks and powers are in is because that is the only way you can protect freedom and democracy. Is when somebody, one of our, whether it's the courts or the president, gets out of line, somebody has to check them. Just like if Congress gets out of line, the president can veto. There has to always be this checks and balances. And once you walk away from the checks and balances, what you're saying is an unchecked president is not an unchecked president. It's an authoritative ruler. It's an oligarch. You call it what you want. It's a dictator, but it's not a president ruling a republic. And the citizens have to really decide what it is they want to do with the country. At the end of the day, I used to poo-poo voting and saying it really didn't matter. Whoever's going to win is going to win.
Yeah.
Voting is the most important issue, the most important right that we have. There's no other right. The only way we can change this, well, two ways you can change your country. Congress steps up and checks it, or the voters check Congress. They're the two ways, and I've got a hunch this November the voters are going to check Congress, but
okay, now, you just had a mouthful, okay, but let me kind of dissect what you're saying. In our government system, in the United States system, King Charles was here, you know, the anniversary of 250 years here. But the United States had something that we all felt and cherished. We cherish this. We had the congressional part, which is the House of Representatives, and we had a Senate. And the House of Representatives, okay, they have one of their main tasks is to pass 12 bills every year, okay. 12 bills every year, okay, that manage all the departments that make us function. And they have to be approved by the House and by the Senate and signed by the President. And this has not been done. We just got the last task accomplished this past week when the House of Representatives finally passed, got out of the shutdown that we've been in with with them doing their job. And now, that's congressional. The other part that's significant here is that you said that the Congress is supposed to check the president. Well, the president is our second part of our government. Where you said they're not supposed to be best buddies, okay? Sure, they're supposed to work together, but they're supposed to be able, to make sure that they keep each other in line of what's going on. And then you had the judiciary, which is on the lawyers, the courts, from the prosecuting attorney in the cities, always the Supreme Court, where that's something that we all been proud of, those three parts of government working together, okay, and being checked and balanced. But now, when Donald Trump and President Trump, give respect, President Trump put those three conservative justices on there, which he did, I think, illegally, what they did before. That now that the Supreme Court, which is controlled by Republicans, the House of Representatives controlled by Republicans, Senate controlled by Republicans, President controlled by Republicans. Now, I'm saying that to say very clear to you that come November, that the one thing that people can see in common, okay, that Republicans right now are giving people high gas prices, high food prices. I mentioned about with the Secretary General of the United Nations saying that this tariffs that we just went through last year, that money got to be paid back that President Trump put us in a hole with, and that the farmers and stuff, are now, at which ends because fertilizer is one of the main things that farmers need, and they can't get it anymore. And then this war that we had going on in Iran, Scott always said it's not called a war. It's not a war, right, Scott?
No.
So right now,
it's whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
Well, it's the Alice in Wonderland definition of a war.
Okay, well, so
whatever
right
it is.
So what it is, okay, now has come the time, okay, that the two branches of the government, the House, the congressional people right now, according to our Constitution, is supposed to check the president right now on his war powers. So the big question is, okay, are they going to do that, Bill?
Well, I mean, historically, if you look back at since Trump's been here the second time, they haven't checked him on anything. So I think what's going to happen, this is just my opinion, is that they're for some way, shape, or form going to buy in for an extra period of time into the ceasefire idea that there's really nothing happening, so there's nothing to check. The difficulty is that what does that mean? Does that mean that Trump could still go back and bomb them?
Bill, something is happening right now, okay? Because this blockade, okay, is affecting everybody at the gas pump.
Of course it is.
The food prices. I mean, everything that we do is being affected. So right now, we got all the effects of war.
Well, actually, we have all the effects of war, but we have something probably worse. We have a country that cannot control the president. If this was, when Harry Truman wanted to take over the steel industry in the Korean War, the Supreme Court stepped in and said, you can't do that. You can't take private property for government use. When Nixon decided to get rid of the tapes, the Supreme Court stepped in. The problem is, I hate to say this, nobody's stepping in.
No, Bill, matter of fact, just for records, okay, you mentioned Harry Truman, okay, that Congress back then was a Democratic Congress in the House and the Senate that checked Democrats who would Harry Truman was a Democrat.
And that's how it should work, Ira. Democrats, it's not a question of whether you're Republican or Democrat, it's a question of you're a member of Congress and you have separate duties from the president.
I just thought I would bring it up so people historically don't understand. Harry Truman was a Democrat. The Congress in those days was controlled by the House and Senate were Democrats. And they checked him, okay, they said, oh, you can't do that. But in those days, there was not the Bill. I think the thing now that we don't talk about enough, people right now, when there's no hate, when there's hate, there's no respect. And that's my Irish folks' definition, okay?
No, you're right.
Okay. And so right now, people that don't dislike each other, they hate each other. And I think now with the mega people right now, and I've been talking to some of our people here about this here locally, with the Supreme Court recent ruling here, it will backfire because everybody see whatever's taking place is being done by one party. And since Donald Trump is taking control, okay, he said, I am the president, I am the Speaker of the House, I am the President of the Senate, all that's me. I control those people. And so right now, when people look back come November, they're going to see a footprint saying Republicans did this to me. Am I right? Can you buy into that?
I hope so. I mean, I say that. Look, at the end of the day, I don't want to get into necessarily the last Supreme Court decision on Louisiana and race and redistricting, but it's pretty simple. If the blacks in this country are about 15-16%, and that's a hell of a big number when elections are won by 2%. So I'm just trying to put it in perspective. And if the black community made Trump president, they're going to have to figure out how to unmake him president.
Well, Bill, let me kind of deal with that a little bit, okay? You've been seeing these different polls saying that blacks supported Trump, okay? Well, I'm having a big problem right now, okay, of finding any black now said I supported Trump. And I'm having a problem saying a lot of white people now said, sure, I supported Trump, but I don't support him anymore. I don't. I mean, in fact, even in the Democratic House, the Democratic House and Senate, the senators are stepping down. I mean, the House Representative members they're stepping down because they're not doing anything, and they can't go before the people. I did anything for you, and that's bad.
Let me tell you why I think voting may be a problem this year, and it's very intentional by Trump. I live in a congressional district in Virginia, and we've had
I know, a lot going on.
We had 3 congressmen in 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I mean, one died, but we've had 3 congressmen in 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're going to get another one. I don't even know who the hell it is. I mean, they haven't even told us. I mean, we sort of know if you can read a map and you figure out who's running, but you don't know who's even running. The amount of confusion. Look, I follow politics almost every day. I read every paper I can get a hold of. I do whatever I can do. And I can honestly tell you, I've never seen so much confusion as in Virginia as I have now. And they're trying to make it all Democrat. I get it. But in the confusion, there are going to be a lot of people, whether they be white, black, Latino, whatever the hell they are. They're going to be just as confused as I am. And I am telling you, that's going to really hurt the vote. And now you have 7 states that have done this redistricting, and I don't know if the districts are even straight yet. And then you're going to have, now you have Louisiana and Alabama moving forward. Soon you have Mississippi and Tennessee. You get down the list. What the hell?
I don't know.
I mean, how do people even know? I mean, look, I understand that they can redistrict and they're supposed to redistrict for the census and they're supposed to do it every 10 years, and that makes sense. But it usually was based on population moving in and out of certain places, and you had to adjust it. Okay, so you do that. But right now, the court rules you can not possibly have any redistricting based on race because it violates the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution. Okay, let's say we live with this for a second. Well, the next question is, if you can't do it based on race and these people actually vote, how do you do it in politics? Where it's just saying we're doing it for Democrats and Republicans. They're not even doing it on something that's a constitutionally protected category. They're just doing it on politics.
Well,
where did they come up with this?
Bill, according to the Constitution, okay, it's supposed to be done by nonpartisan. So if you're doing it for Democrats or Republicans, okay, you're being partisan. Am I right?
Yeah.
But they're saying you're not supposed to be partisan, okay? So if it's not doing it for race, you know what I'm saying? And which is why this whole thing was based on, in our country. Is that for years blacks have been trying to fight to get equal representation. That's been the whole thrust, the whole mantra as we've been trying to go forward. And so now you say race is not important, but see now race has never been more important because now you have back in the old days you said minorities, okay, you spoke only of blacks, but now you said minorities, okay. There's very few white families right now that does not have some black blood. Their daughters, their granddaughters, their grandkids, their great grandkids, either their daughters are getting together with black men. The men are getting together with black women. Okay, so right now, right now you have people of color, and you're diluting that white race.
Well, the white race.
Am I right, Bill?
But the white race is going to be a minority by 2050. So, all these things that they're putting in place to protect themselves, they're going to have the same problems on the other side of the fence.
It is, and that's my point, Bill. They're fighting. They are afraid. That they're going to be mistreated like they mistreated us. That it'll be the big payback.
No, this is all about fear.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Man, there's a good friend, not a good friend, but the late James Brown had a song called "The Big Payback." I don't know if you recall that. Okay,
I do.
Okay, Big Payback. Well, James Brown was part of my family, through marriage. Okay, but the Big Payback. Okay, when that came out, that was over 60 years ago, Bill. At least 50 years ago. And so now people know that big payback is what's driving, okay? But now saying, so if we look at now that while the white man had his foot on the neck of the black man, the Hispanics came in, the Asians came in, and we can go down the list, okay? But and so in holding us black, we find out now that that's why he's in the minority now, because all these other races now be calling minorities now.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you cannot, so you cannot put so much in the minority pot, okay?
Well, but the thing I read that is so hard for me to accept
Okay.
is that we've always been moving forward in this country toward making it more equal to protecting the vote of everyone. That's
Right.
Look, we started off with if you had to be a white man owning land to vote, and then you just had to be a white man, and then you had to be.
Let me stop right there, okay? Now you had to be a white man. Your blood, they went down so forth to your blood.
Right, but. And then, and women couldn't vote, and they couldn't vote till the 1900s. And
only men, only men.
But step by step, we made things better.
And women are minorities also.
And this is the first time in our history, 250 years, that we're now actually trying to reverse things.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what the problem is that we not only on the foreign affairs side where we're now and we go from defense to being the war machine and the Secretary of War. I mean, that's a disgraceful title. I am the Secretary of War. I want to do war. And so we're turning outward and we're betraying our friends. We're punishing our friends. And then when you turn inward, we're trying to punish minorities. This is not just bad. This is sick. And
that's the key word. It's sick. It is sick.
But you have. I mean, I hate to tell you, the black community this election, with 15% of the vote, if you can even move 10% of your vote, you're going to win the elections. And now that what I don't think that they've really thought out is that when they've changed these districts to sort of say, well, the Republicans got a couple percentage advantage, they may or may not have it if the vote changes. Because if you move 5% of the vote and they have a 2 or 3% advantage, you're going to win. And I think that more than ever, the black community really has to decide what it wants to do, because you put Trump in, you're going to have to get him out.
Well, Bill, right now, okay, I think now something that's not being talked about, and I'm going to throw it out here for what it's worth, okay? Trump has 2 sons, okay? Well, I said 3 sons. Now his youngest son right now should, according to the Constitution, be registered for the draft, okay? But we haven't heard yet whether he's registered or not. His other 2 sons right now are robbing the world of all the money they can get. Now Joe Biden's son, they thought he had stole some money from somebody in a contract. They thought, and they were going to court to prove that. Donald Trump's sons right now, they're gifters, what you want to call it. Gifters, not gifters. Well, anyway, they taking money hand over feet, and they have no shame about it. Now, the thing that they seem not understand, sure, the president, okay, he's immune from prosecution, but his kids, and seem to forget that once his dad is out of office, and so also his cabinet members, okay, the billionaires, he's gonna protect them while he's in office, okay. But once he's out of office, okay, they have no protection.
Yes, they do. They have a lot of protection. Before he leaves, he's going to pardon everybody. Are you kidding me? He's going to say, you're pardoned for stealing money from Venezuela. You're pardoned for stealing money from consumers. He's pardoning everybody. There won't be anybody who doesn't have a pardon, who's been part of him and part of the corruption. He's going to pardon them all. Look, he pardoned all 16 or 1700 January 6ers.
Right, and then they went out and started doing more crimes.
Yep. So he's going to protect them because he's got to. We've hit a phase in this country that I never look, we've had bad presidents before. I mean, I'd be the first to tell you. You know, Herbert Hoover, you know, and some of the Lend leases or some of the oil leases and stuff, you know, that was just chump change. I mean, that was just stupid. It was one guy in his cabinet who did stupid things, and he got rid of him. It was a stupid yes. I mean, Nixon, did Nixon do stupid things? The stupidest thing he did is, you know, he could have gone on television and said, yeah, you know, I had nothing to do. I didn't know that they robbed the thing, but you know something? Whatever the court says, that's what we're going to do. You know, or he could have said, I'm going to pardon them all, so they don't have to do anything. Or he could have ordered the Justice Department not to prosecute them. There were a million things he could have done, but he didn't do it. So, I mean, in terms of honor, he's way above Trump.
Bill, there's nobody that can compare to this man, the president. And that's what I'm saying. Bill, when he's out of office, the Republicans will have this southern term will have a hard road to hope. Which is talking about formers that there's a lot of work that will be needed.
I think you're dreaming.
Okay. Well,
I think you're absolutely dreaming, because what's going to happen most likely is he's going to stay in office. He's going to stay in office for the next 3 years. I think the Democrats are probably going to take the House for sure. I don't know whether they take the Senate or not. They might. They're not going to impeach him. The economy's going to be in worse shape. We're still going to be screwing around with wars. And a Democrat president gets in, and a Democrat Congress. And you know something? They're not. It's going to take them 10 years. Not 4, 10 years to straighten things out. We are in such deep shit that you're not going to figure out a way to get out of this thing. Getting out of, he can't even figure out how to get out of the Iran war. He couldn't even.
True. Bill, let me stop you right there, okay? This is a perfect segue into your new book, okay?
Okay.
Which is Congress and the Irrelevant Institution or Guardians of the Republic. This is Bill Kovacs' latest book. And in it, when you read it, okay, you're going to be thinking that he has some insight about how our country used to look, or how he said, how we dreaming forward to look. Because right now, we all dreaming now about how this is going to unfold. Because the one thing that's taking place is the United States used to have respect. And once you lose that respect, these two topics that Bill had in the Irrelevant Institution or a Guardian of the Republic are built on trust. Am I right, Bill?
Trust, but I call it fiduciary responsibility, because once a member of Congress puts their hand up and swears that oath, they owe their duties to the Constitution and to the Congress of the United States. No duties, none to the President or the courts.
Okay, now, Bill, why don't you explain fiduciary, what that actually means to people who know
the courts. The court system, and probably the best example of the court system and them being I call them a super legislature in the book, is what they did the other day in the Louisiana case. They came in and said, the court, us with our black robes, don't any longer, we think that the Civil Rights Act has been so effective, we can change the law to make sure it's been repealed.
That's not effective.
Right. So what the court did is they said, Congress isn't going to do it. Congress is pretty happy with the way it was. And the Civil Rights Act, the voting right, it worked. I mean, it worked for 50 years. So what they said is, it's no longer going to work, and Congress won't repeal it. So what we're going to do is we're going to repeal it. That's the judiciary being a legislature. That's all that is.
Well, see,
Congress, what Congress needs to do on this stuff, whether it's Trump acting like that or the courts, is Congress has the power to do all of this. Congress is the only institution that has the power. It has the spending power, it has the oversight power, it has the impeachment power. You name it. It can do any of these things. It can impeach the 9 justices on the Supreme Court. It could defund them. I mean, it's unbelievable what it can do.
Well, Bill, let me ask you a question, okay? And this is something that kind of, I know a little bit about the system, okay? Just not to get me in trouble. Now, I never, you talk about the Congress. They control the purse strings. And I always have been taught, okay, you control the purse strings, you can kind of control your destination to some degree. And so right now, the Congress controls, the salaries, the funding of the justices. They control the funding of the president. They control the funding of all the different departments and stuff. Well, what does Donald Trump have on them, okay, that they refuse to speak up like men and women and do their job?
Who on the judges, the justices?
Yeah, all of them. Well, they're just
like everybody else. They're like Hexed or Bondi or any of the others. They just want to keep their jobs, and they know that if they do what Trump wants, they'll keep their jobs, and he won't be embarrassing them in public. I think it's that simple. I don't think there's anything fundamental. They just want to keep their jobs, and they want everybody to like them. And they have a choice. They can either rule the right way and have him upset with them and criticizing them and tell them they're rogue justices and that they're incompetent, or he can sort of say, it was a good ruling, I like these people. Which would you rather have?
Well, Bill, I'm kind of call me crazy, okay? I want to do my job. And satisfying the president, okay, is not something that I've ever read any place in our Constitution, in our documents saying, my job, okay, in the House or the Senate, is to make the president happy.
Well, look, I spent 2 years and a whole book writing about the fact that they owe the country, and they owe the Congress, and they owe the Constitution. They don't owe anything to the president. And their job is to make sure that the president only has one job: is to execute the laws of the United States. Not his laws, not his executive orders, not his emergencies. The laws passed by Congress. And Congress, this has been going on. I mean, if you read, I'm just going to read one sentence to you. For more than a half a century, presidents of both parties have steadily expanded their power, while Congress has quietly surrendered its own. Each new president inherits and enlarges the authority of the last, eroding the separation of powers that protects liberty and leaving the people unrepresented by the only branch of government they elect, the Congress.
Well, Bill,
that's the problem.
Bill, when I read that, okay, a chill went through my body, okay, to be honest with you, okay? Because one thing that I learned, that once a person gets power, they do not get power back.
That is true.
You know what I mean? That's, and so now, having said that, we find ourselves that what is being created, the word minority is something that they're trying to, that has changed so much over the definition is. When I was with the city of St. Louis back in the 80s, and we had an ordinance that we had, and they had said that 25%, I think it was, in the ordinance for the build our cable system had to be minorities, okay? Then they said that I think it was 10% had to be female. Now, what happened was during that time period, okay, I saw my boss, okay, who's a white woman, gradually instituted women, okay, in the minority. But now women are now part of the minority when they use the word minority. So now here the Supreme Court justice right now saying that the Constitution says nonpartisan, and that minorities are the ones that we're trying to protect from the white man now, and now the white man now has removed that protection away from being protected, and now any group, be it women, be it gays or whoever, okay, they all fall up under the word minority now. And the minority party getting kind of fat, Bill.
Yeah.
Everybody will be called a minority now.
So what's the point?
So the point is, if come November, that minorities is the ones that's being hated now. I kind of hard to see that there wouldn't be a change in both houses. That there wouldn't be, because right now the minorities are the ones that's being stepped on. They're trying to take power away from.
Well, let me go back to my scenario that I had before. You wake up in the morning on election day and nobody knows where to vote. I mean, I can honestly tell you, I voted at Great Falls School for my whole life, and now all of a sudden, the last time I had to go to the library. I mean, that's the first thing is you don't even know where the polling place is. The second thing is, I've had three different congressmen, so I'm not even sure what names I've even got to see, and I haven't seen anything written about anybody who's even running in the district. So that's the next thing.
And that's bad, Bill. That's bad.
And then you have, Trump. Let's say he decides he declares an emergency and sends the National Guard in to supervise the elections and to seize the ballots and stuff. Look, he's done it before. He's done it He's done it in Georgia and a few other places. You don't know. All of this confusion makes people say, "Who cares?" I mean, I'm being serious.
No, Bill. I know you are okay, and I know, and with you being serious, okay, it's creating, not a fictitious, okay, but what's sort of like a fact that may materialize on what we hope that don't take place.
Well, I mean, the other thing is, for the next 6 months or whatever, you're going to have efforts to not restrict mail-in ballots and stuff. So
Bill, help me understand this, okay?
It's going to be a problem.
Right now, the ballots, I vote. I know I voted, okay, but here in St. Louis County, in this area, they've made it now that you can vote at any polling place now, not just in the one.
Really? Wow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right now, in St. Louis County, we have our main library.
That's in pre-election voting.
Well, Bill.
Not on the day of voting, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Wow.
And not only that, Bill. Not only that, the mail-in ballots. The president mailed in his ballot, this last time out.
Right.
And there has been 0.00000 evidence of anybody cheating in mail-in voting. It has proven to be a very successful way of voting. Am I right?
Well, I mean, I think his position is that mail-in voting allows people who were more likely to vote against him to vote, and right. so he wants to eliminate it. I mean, but
these are the people, because you got more and more people like myself and like you, Bill. Because you're a little older than I am. We don't get out like we used to. And mail-in voting was created, okay, for people like us. We don't get out like they used to.
But it was very limited in those days. I mean, the problem is, it's like everything else, I think. Mail-in voting had a very good purpose. People who couldn't make it to the polls or were disabled or whatever, they were able to do it. And then for people who were out of town, and now it's for everybody, just because you just don't feel like voting.
Right. Right now, you don't have to have an excuse.
Yeah. So it's like everything else. It got too much.
Okay, but now, but I still don't see how where it hasn't proven, okay, to be there's been corruption found in people voting, because I used to be here many years ago in our system here, okay, mail-in ballots, okay, was one way that they thought it was being corrupt, okay. No, and that was only here in St. Louis, in Missouri. But I never heard that anyplace else. Now, having said that, the Republicans created, for the most part, mail-in voting to make it convenient for their people. And now they want to reverse that. And that's why I said a few minutes ago that when it comes to families now, generational families, like I said, I got great grandkids. Like you probably have great grandkids. You know, and in my family tree now, okay, I have people of color. I mean, people who are not of color. You know, that's I have a grandson. You know, he's about as white as white can be. You know what I'm saying? And, and then we got some other nationalities that's all look focused. So again, you can't just say that minorities have to be you got to be black. That's not true.
No, it's not true.
So now that goes back to what you said earlier in our conversation here, that the Supreme Court was trying to say that they want to be nonpartisan, but now you got to be partisan, okay? For what they're doing.
Well, I think the last time I was on your show, I was going over a study, and I forget what think tank introduced, but they went over, I'm going to say 2,700 court rulings to decide, and they looked at who appointed the judge and what was his ruling, what the administration wanted. And they found out that like 72% or 80% of all the rulings were a Republican would vote Republican and a Democrat would vote Democrat. So the judiciary is no more impartial. They're not these umpires that John Roberts talks about. They're just politicians, and we've all got to come. And again, going back to the role of Congress, Congress has to supervise the courts too. We've let these courts just be free agents. They're not free agents. They have a constitution like we do, and they have laws passed by Congress, and Congress needs to get involved in this stuff.
But that brings me back to something that you worked on the Hill, okay? Person to person, hand to hand combat, for lack of better description. How can we, as an itty-bitty people out in America, how can we make our congressmen? Because right now, what has done? What I answered between the answer a few minutes ago. Why are they so afraid, the Republican Party? I know how the academy members are, because they want to keep their jobs, because they want to remain on this good side.
Yeah, I think it's that simple.
But when it comes to congressional people, okay, I know they got the MAGA people, but right now a lot of people make America great again. I said MAGA, but right now a lot of them are very unhappy about the way things are going.
Yeah, well, they're still not going to change because they don't want Trump to put in. He's got a lot of money sitting in a PAC, and he doesn't want to have them. He doesn't want the members of Congress don't want Trump to use the money to defeat them. It's that simple. It comes down to, look, I told this story to you guys on the radio before. When I left Congress and went into private law practice, the question that always bugged me.
Now, you say you left Congress, okay? That's strange that you should be.
When I left the Hill.
Left the Hill, okay? Because you were
I was the chief counsel.
But you're not the chief, no.
Right. When I left, there was one question that always, because there are a few members of the committee that I was on that committed crimes and went to jail, and one of them actually was just getting out of jail when I was going into private practice, and we had dinner one night, and I asked him directly that question: what makes a member of Congress take bathrooms or money under the table or free trips, or what makes them do this? And the answer shocked me so much I was speechless. Yeah. And he said, no. They are the best treated people in the world. Their kids always get scholarships to the college they want. They always get the lowest price in a car. They're invited into every real estate deal. Everything that happens in their district, they are invited into, and they make money on it. And sometimes they cross the line. And I think it's really that simple. We're looking at all these sinister things of, are they with Trump? Are they conspiring? Nobody's conspiring. I hate to say it, nobody's conspiring with anybody, Ira. What's happening is they're sitting there saying, I've got this plush job. I have drivers. I have everybody who adores me. They do whatever I want. Everybody comes up to me and talks to me because I'm a member of Congress. I can't go anywhere without somebody saying what a great person I am. They don't want to give that up. They don't want to give it up because they don't want to be attacked by Trump. They don't want their constituents to do it, and they know that their friends will help them make money. That's a great gig, Ira. That is a great gig, and
That's fantastic.
It's our fault for electing these people. They won't even stop insider trading. Nancy Pelosi would know.
They're making money off hand over feet.
Yeah, Nancy Pelosi made.
Bill, they make money toe over toe, not feet over feet, toe over toe. It's because of that money.
What's the point?
They make so much money is toe over toe.
Okay.
That's how intense it is. What I'm saying.
Yeah. Look, Pelosi made $5 million. Trump made $5 billion. I don't know what to tell you. You talked about, Hunter Biden made a couple million. That's chump change. Today these guys are making whatever. They make $400,000 or $500,000 just having inside information from committee information on betting. It's again, I come back to, and the whole purpose of the book, it's to ask a very simple question. Congress, is it an irrelevant institution, or is it guardian of the Republic? And the whole thesis is, the way they're going right now is they're totally irrelevant. If you got rid of the whole Congress today, nothing would change.
Okay,
but they have the power to be guardians of the Republic and guardians of freedom, and that's what the citizens have to do. The citizens have to make sure that these people are the guardians.
But Bill, I come to point 6 in your book, okay, and it kind of gets to the crust of the matter, to be honest with you, which says government must operate for public purposes.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the only reason you have a government.
Right. That's what I said. To me, okay, the number 6 get to the crust of the matter. That's the whole purpose, okay. My Congressman Wesley Bell, going to Congress back, asking for re-election now, is to go up there, okay, and provide representation for me, our folks, my family, and people in our 1st Congressional District here in the St. Louis area. And there was a time we would say, bring home the bacon for your district. Well, they now took that out. You can't say that anymore. But at the same time, we're looking at dollars being creating new ways to give us money. I guess that's where the power comes in, Bill.
No, the power is what allows him to get the money.
I understand.
Once he has the power. But think about what it's doing to the whole country. You have one person who's sitting there saying, I'm going to enrich myself. And he lets his cabinet enrich himself. And he lets his, he lets his envoys to the negotiating table make business deals and make money. Everybody's making money. And I'm telling you, he's going to pardon them all. And we are going to look like the dumbest group of people in this country you have ever seen.
In the world.
And the world is laughing at us right now. They know what intelligence is.
Bill, they got these cartoons now, over in Iran, okay, about Donald Trump, about him sleeping, all the things that they laugh about, that Joe, Joe was sleeping, Joe or whatever, okay, and this man just goes to sleep in a meeting. He don't try to hide it.
Shit, I wish he'd sleep 24 hours a day. It'd be safer.
We would be, but the one thing that the one thing that we haven't broached at all here, which is something that I think is going to affect a whole lot of people in this cabinet and as people around the world, is what is happening with the Epstein files. When is that going? Because right now over in England, in the other parts of the world, for these powerful businessmen who have, always trying to get access to some small young girls with the fantasize of being with them and stuff, and that they are paying no price for that. And now in our country, okay, our Justice Department said we don't want to talk about it. And, in the whole world talking about it, God bless you. The whole world's talking about it, but we're not talking about it.
Well, what would you like us to do? I mean, Trump's not going to release any of this information. That's never going to happen.
Well,
Biden didn't release any of it. Obama didn't release any of it. This has been going on since 1996.
Yeah, but that's the thing that gets me, okay, is, like you said, none of these presidents have seen fit. And I use the word seen fit. But I think I got daughters, you got daughters, they got a daughter, stuff for me. And if anyone in my family, the young ladies in my family, have been affected by something like this, I want somebody, and I'm paying my congressman right now for my kids, me to get justice for my family. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day.
But I guess for you and I'm much more of a, I don't want to say realist, but
that's the word. That's the word, Bill. Go ahead. I'm kind of romantic.
I just don't think you can. I don't think you can expect the federal government to do anything. I don't think, frankly, you can expect local governments to do anything. I mean, the other day, my wife was going on about something, and she said, "Why is this happening?" And I said, "Well, who is going to care about taking on this problem?" It was a local problem on dead trees and stuff, very insignificant. But who do you think is? They're not going to care until a tree falls and kills somebody. Then everybody will care. Trying to get government to do anything is one of the most impossible tasks you will ever do in your life. And when you really sit back and think about where does the money go, you can look at a budget and say, well, there's $200 billion in healthcare, $200 billion in this, and it does, but it's a really big distribution system. That's all it is, a redistribution system.
Okay. Yeah, right now, the other day, I kind of tried to see some articles, okay, because I'm trying to, describe how crazy local government could be. So bear with me for a second. Here in St. Louis, Missouri, St. Louis and Kansas City are the only two cities in the entire country where the police boards are controlled by the state. The only two in the whole country. Now,
the police boards?
Right, the police boards. The commissioners are appointed by the governor. And then that goes back to during the time of the Civil War. They had all the armory, all the guns and stuff in the intentions, and they didn't want the Confederates they didn't want the Confederates to get the gun. That's how that came about. Now, St. Louis just got back. The state got back control of the police board again. Now, in the last month and a half, the St. Louis Police Board, they've been back and forth fighting, okay? And they came in and said they want 25% of the budget of the city of St. Louis. And that's how much the budget they want to give to the police department. Straight up and down.
How much?
25% of the budget for the St. Louis city has to go to the police department. And the city is saying we cannot afford that. Now, and so now the police board, and they're going back and forth, okay? And they're fighting back and forth here. Now, here in St. Louis, they had some issues with the police boards. A lot of people, officers, have shot, killed people, and their families, they have been sued for millions of dollars, and they have lost. They got to pay this money. The police board does, and they're saying the city got to pay this money. Now, so now, the St. Louis state is telling them we do not have money. So there's an article that came out just yesterday, the other day, that I tried to send you a copy of, and it's confusing. Whereas the police board right now, they are saying now, okay, that they do never answer. They're taking the fifth, okay, about the city, about the money they asking from the city to protect the city, police to protect themselves. And if it sounds confusing, that Bill, that's how confusing it is. And that's why I can't ask you, because it's a confusing issue that you probably find different places around the country where the government itself, okay, is becoming more complicated for the average person to understand what's going on.
Well, most governments, I don't know why they'd be taking the fifth, unless they think it was an intentional crime, because most governments have some form of limited immunity for their actions.
Right, that's true. But for them to take the fifth, okay, to me just blew my mind. And
well, that means that they think there's criminal liability.
Right. And matter of fact, the lawyer for the police board told them to take the fifth. That's the other crazy part about it.
Well, again, it's how I sound like a broken record, but it's how the system breaks down. They've got limited immunity. They've got all kinds of immunity, so they're not going to be sued. The public's going to have to pay for any judgments if they do something wrong.
Right.
And then they come in and they take the fifth. Nobody does anything. Nobody supervises them. We just keep letting it go.
Right.
But it's our fault. It's our fault.
I know. And here in St. Louis, okay, the Democrats are in power in St. Louis City. And the governor is a keyhole, is a governor, is Republican. And one of his main things was he wanted to take control of the police board back from the city. So I'm saying that to say, Bill, as we look forward to the primaries, in come November, almost everything that's related to Republicans right now, around the states, as I look at them, is that Republicans label things, okay, are creating chaos for most people where they live at.
Well, I sort of agree with you, but on November, whatever day the election is.
I take that, Bill. I take that. Thank you, sir.
But whatever day the election is, I guess I'm just not as positive as you that all this confusion is going to turn into votes. Historically, the Republicans thought when was it 2018 that they were going to take 30 seats. They ended up with 2. I mean, I just, with all the chaos, I'm just not sure what's going to happen.
Well, Bill, I have to agree with you. Okay, that the more I look at come November, that there's some things out there they're not going to materialize as they probably normally would have in a normal situation, because we're not living in normal times now. And I think that's going to be one of the problems about the coming election, okay, is that nothing is normal in the time that we're dealing with presently right now. And that's what we have, and there is the problem that we are having as we try to go forward.
But how do we return it? The question is, how do you return it to normal? I mean, we can sit here and complain, but how do you return it?
Well, Bill, that's why your book, okay, I told you when I first started reading, okay, your book is a common sense book, okay? And like one of the things it said in chapter 19, the ghost of politics yet to come is still in the room.
Yes.
Now that's a mouthful, Bill.
5 minutes, Mr. Ira.
Okay, thank you.
The ghost of politics is still in the room, and and until the members of Congress really decide that they're going to be fiduciaries to the Constitution and to the Congress, the ghost stays there, and the ghost is going to eat them away. There's no ghost in the White House. That's a power center that's unnaturally developed, and the ghost has helped it develop. But every president comes in and they see their big house, and they want a bigger house, and they want this, and they want money. Just think about one thing, and I there's somewhere I wrote something about this the other day. Think about waking up after the election, taking your oath, and you're the president of the United States. You have access You have control over virtually every single life there. Any person you pick out of a phone book, you can destroy. That's the first thing. Any person, you've got control of all the assets. So you've got all the land of the United States is yours. The $5 or $6 trillion that come in taxes is yours. Everything is yours. Everything in the entire United States is yours or yours to destroy.
Mm-hmm.
Think about what that does to your head.
That's right.
You don't look at it and say I have boundaries or I have restrictions. You look at it as I can do anything, as opposed to having a Congress who says no, you can't. That's why I come after Congress, because unless Congress does it, nobody's going to do it. And the Congress needs to go after the president, and they need to go after the courts. And then on this last case, with this Louisiana case, Congress needs just the legislature.
Okay. God bless you again, Bill.
Yeah.
As we get it kind of wind down here, what would the possibilities? Okay, one of the I'd like to kind of create solutions to problems. What are the likelihood? Okay, that the only way you can change the Supreme Court right now is probably add more justices to dilute the power. What are your thoughts about that?
Then you just add. I mean, look, I talk about that in the book too. That's one of the options for control. Mm-hmm. But you expand it and somebody else expands it. I mean, how far do you go? The point is, you've got to find justices who don't have political beliefs.
And they all lie. They all lie when they sit there and lie to the congressmen, to the senators at the time. Oh no, I swear for God, no, I would never. Oh no. They just straight up lie. And the next day, what they swore in, they forgot what they said.
Well, if what's the old statement? How do you know when a politician is lying? Or how do you know when a politician is telling the truth? Their lips stop moving. And that's sort of what it is. It's like all these justices are so full of it, and the congressmen are full of it. The fact is that the American people have to vet these people a little bit better.
You know something real funny, Bill? You can laugh at this. Now you throw AI in there. We really got to mess that.
Oh, that's AI is AI. If you think we got problems now, you wait.
Now, that's what I said. That was that. You think that's crazy? Just throw AI in that. Okay.
When I see some of these pictures, like this one beautiful woman who's like the top influencer in the United States, she's AI. I mean, It's really freaky as to what these people are able to do. But
Bill, I'm starting to use that, do it more. And we talk about it out there, what I'm starting to do. And it's frightening, Bill, because it takes you so far out to where the facts should be at. And that's something people that used to have other facts.
Well, AI is not going away, so.
Oh no, that's fine. I just didn't get into AI.
That is a big conversation.
Listen, I won't call it going down a rabbit hole. Okay, that's going down a well, not a rabbit hole. Yeah. Rabbit hole's not that big.
That's the old story of Jonas and the whale. I don't know what he was looking at. AI is a discussion for the future because, I mean, what it can do not only to politics but wars and everything else.
It's right. But Bill, first of all, Bill, as we kind of wind up here, is there anything that you want to close with here? You got a couple minutes out to yourself.
No, but if anybody who wants to buy my book, I would really be appreciated if you would read it, because I think Congress and the relevant institution or guardian of the Republic really solidifies a lot of things that I've been thinking about for a long time, and that is we as the American people only elect one branch of government. The courts are appointed and the Electoral College elects the president. We've got to get more out of our Congress. They are the only people we elect. They are our representatives. And they have to do something, and leave the discussion with that, because if Congress doesn't do it, they are irrelevant and they are not guardians. So
you're right, and those are the facts.